Welcome to Going for Two. It's a good week to be a hater. I didn't even know the NFL allowed trades that just involved players. On tonight's edition of Going for Two, we'll discuss snow, the Des Bryant non-video, the Bills going all trade crazy on our asses, how bored are we that we're listening to rumor trades by fake Twitter accounts, and a fond farewell to former Titans pain in the asses, MJD and Andre Johnson. Forget the bread and milk. How's the wine supply in Nashville, Sharona?
Everything is snowy and beautiful right now, but I'm sure by tomorrow it will be a much different situation. The only time I have to get out, unless there's an emergency, is to take my dog out. She's not a fan of the weather, but other than that, I made it to the liquor store before the storm set in. I've got wine. It's all good here.
Yeah, it's definitely the underrated thing is to go for the beer load up when you're ready to brave the weather. But we're going to try. The beard, the man, the myth, the legend. Tonight we have Brian Quinlan, who has been known as a street free agent. Said like the Ohio State, but with more conviction and a bit of a whiskey slur for quite some time. He was interview number 41 in the Ask Your Fantasy Football Expert series. He didn't have a site now, but then now he is waxing drunken oetic with football savages. I thought nobody else would be able to encapsulate the wild week the Bills have had, quite like Mr. Quinlan, who can also give you the lay of the land of the Dallas beer scene. So how's it going tonight?
It's going pretty good. I'm a couple beers in. I've got a little bit of some Highland Park 15 that my little brother sent me. So,
Awesome.
Pretty nice little Thursday so far.
Yeah, my favorite.
Brian, I usually drink beer with Zach, but actually, snow day, confession, I started day drinking. I'm two glasses of wine in, so hey, should be a fun show. And by the way, I have to say, your beard game is on fleek.
Yeah,
I appreciate that. I don't know what fleek means, but I feel like that's good.
That's what I didn't think that you would. That's why I said that. It's good. It's all good.
I'm glad we don't have any pictures of my beard back in the day because it was.
You can't grow a beard, Zach.
It was not good at all.
Zach beard is patchy and it's very.
As long as it's not as bad as Justin Bieber's, he's all right.
What a comparison! Yeah, so
I'm just saying that's a terrible bit of facial hair that kid has.
So this week, the Bills decided to go trade crazy. What did you think about the McCoy-Alonzo trade? We'll start there, the big one.
I didn't have a problem with it. I mean, Kiko Alonso, the Bills Mafia faithful, and you got to love him. I'm kind of on a borderline on that. I'm not that crazy. But, I mean, Kiko had one really great year, got hurt. He's going to be 25 years old at the start of the season. So, I mean, it's not like they traded this 22-year-old future Patrick Willis. I mean, he's an animal. He's awesome. He gets all over the field. He moves fast. He's instinctive. All that's good stuff. But, I mean, they didn't really miss him on defense last year at all, I mean, as far as I could tell.
But they did have Brandon Spikes.
Well, they did. And I think that with Rex Ryan, they're going to end up with David Harris probably.
Yeah, they probably will.
And, and they'll just switch out one really good run-stopping linebacker for another. And Preston Brown looked good. Nigel Bradham finally, as long as he doesn't smoke synthetic weed or regular weed or whatever we've got caught with, as long as he can stay on the field, I mean, that kid is good. He's athletic. And, Kiko's great, but I mean, is he worth, is it worth keeping him instead of getting a Pro Bowl running back that is everything C.J. Spiller probably wanted to be? I mean, C.J. Spiller, loved the kid and very electric at times, but he didn't give anything consistent. He was always some sort of nagging injury or just flat out not playing football. So, I mean, I liked it. Yeah, and they had the cap space to eat that contract that he's got. So, I mean, big deal. They gave up a linebacker that just happened to be a little bit more legend than actual, production. I mean, it would be one thing if he was already like a 4-time Pro Bowler.
Yeah, I mean he's got that P word written all over him, right? Potential, but he
Yeah.
is coming off two injury filled not injury filled, but two seasons where he got injured. You know, it's kind of to me, it's like a win-win for both teams.
Exactly.
The Philadelphia Eagles were able to trade a guy with a very large cap number, with looming large cap numbers, and get a guy, you know, that Chip Kelly's familiar with, obviously he likes. Quack, quack, he's trying to turn Philadelphia into the Oregon Ducks, right? He's got
He's
9
still trying to win
former
that
Ducks
national
on his
championship.
roster now.
Yeah, trying to win that national championship.
Yeah.
Well, it's weird that somebody brought up. I think they have nine Ducks on the roster, but only like one guy actually played like 20% of the snaps, and that was the guy who got the short end of the Matthews DNA, Casey Matthews. Just know because I had him briefly on my dynasty team. But maybe that's a sign, the Kiko Alonso thing. If you have a rookie who does really well in dynasty, trade him away because Kiko tears his ACL. I had Zach Stacy on a team last year, and his value kind of plummeted at the same time. So is this the end?
I really thought Zach Stacy was going to torpedo me in my dynasty league, but hey, you know what? I ended up winning that league, so.
Well, it's good to have.
A little bit of a humble brag right there.
Yeah.
That's right.
Stay strong. Yeah. So and then the Bills weren't done.
No.
Not only Sexy Rexy, did he change his? I forget if he changed his tattoo, but he definitely got his.
He did change his tattoo.
His new truck. And the Bills decided to trade for Matt Cassell. So Matt Cassell, possibly the first 7th round pick to ever be traded twice. Impressive. So what do you think?
Well, I mean, look, it was either I figured they were going to go after like Hoyer or something like that. So Hoyer, Castle, whatever. It's a stopgap quarterback. That's all they're really looking for. I mean, they're drafting too late in the 2nd round to get anybody. In this quarterback class after Mariota and Winston is not like exciting. Although I know there's some folks out there that like what's the kid's name, Hundley or something.
Hundley. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not a deep enough class that they're going to get a chance at any of those people. So I mean, look, they needed a vet quarterback. EJ Manuel sucks. I mean,
tell us what you really think, Brian.
I'm not a huge college football, I don't scout players. I don't do any of that shit. I leave it to other people. But, I mean, I watch Florida State. I'm a Florida State fan. So Florida State fans couldn't wait for E.J. Manuel to graduate. They were ready for him to go.
They wanted Jameis. They were ready for Jameis.
Right. And rightly so, because Jameis, without all the other bullshit, I mean, they got a ring with Jameis, and E.J. Manuel was just not that great. And he didn't, as far as I saw, didn't progress at all. He still has trouble getting through progression. He makes bad decisions. He either under or overthrows wide open receivers. It drives me nuts. So, he's going to lose his job to Matt Castle. And I'm excited for the 2 revenge games that we're going to get this year. He's going right after Tom Brady, and he's going to prove to Bill Belichick that maybe Brady should have sat down for Matt Castle. All right, that was ridiculous. I apologize.
Or Brian Hoyer.
No apologies necessary.
No, but I like the trade. He's not going to turn the ball over. If he throws it under 30 times a game, he's fine. And E.J. Manuel, the clubhouse has said he was kind of like too much of a friend and not enough of the captain of the team. And I think Matt Castle will go in there, and at 30-something years old, he knows that this is probably his last hurrah, so he's just going to say, fuck it and go for it. And, if he comes away with 3,500 yards and 15 touchdowns and 15 interceptions, and they can run the hell out of the ball and play defense, they could very well make the playoffs with that kind of thing. I mean, it's like a Trent Dilfer, Brad Johnson type of situation.
Yeah, I agree. I think that my concern, of course, there's still free agency hasn't really officially started. I mean, the open free agency period. The concern that I have, Brian, is that Kyle Orton, it's not really it's basically an even trade sort of from Kyle Orton to Matt Castle. The problem with the Bills is their offensive line. They don't have they did get Richie Incognito. That's the latest trades have kind of overshadowed all of that. But it's not going to matter who they have running the ball or throwing the ball unless they do something there.
And me and Zach were talking while he was testing this thing, which finally worked, about Incognito a little bit. And for all the negative that comes with that dude, and I'm not a big fan. I mean, I hashtagged him Incognito during that whole Miami Dolphins thing. But he is a good run-blocking guard, and he's
better than what you had. There's no
absolutely.
question.
And he will, without a doubt, bring an attitude of toughness that offensive line probably needs. I mean, there's a lot of young people. Both tackles are young. I mean, it's a young offensive line, and they need somebody that, as much of a prick as Incognito is, he's a guy that'll probably get everybody's mental edge a little bit, higher than what it's been, and he's going to create a little toughness. And Rex Ryan is a player's coach, and they're going to want to die for that guy. As much as I've given him shit over the years, that they're going to run the hell out of it, and they're going to make sure that line can produce, for LaShawn McCoy and Fred Jackson probably in spurts, because that dude is awesome.
I mean, somebody was joking on Twitter saying, even with the LaShawn McCoy trade, Fred Jackson would lead the team in touches and yards and what. It's amazing. He really is amazing.
Well, I mean, he's one of those. He's old, but he's got fresh legs type of situation. Like, he's just always been that guy, and he's just got a hell of a work ethic, and he's a great team player. So, he's definitely going to be diminished. There's no doubt about it. It's coming off a bunch of injuries and all that stuff, and he's definitely slowed down. And he's probably going to be on the roster more for his leadership than what he's going to put on the field. Because I mean, LaShawn McCoy had like 350 or so touches last year.
Yeah.
I would be shocked if he doesn't have, 375 this year with Rex Ryan and all that, between running and catching. So, Fred will be there just to do his little thing every once in a while, and hopefully LaShawn McCoy doesn't get hurt.
How many more years do you think LaShawn McCoy has in him, Brian?
If they get 3 years, I've figured if they get 3 good years out of LaShawn McCoy, it is worth the trade, even if Kiko goes on to a 10-year career of being an above-average to very good linebacker. That's an easy win for both teams. And I mean, he's going to be – McCoy turns 27, I think, in August. So to get 3 years out of him in this league, the way players are taking care of themselves nowadays, I don't think that's totally, unexpected or whatever. I mean,
well, that's the remainder of his contract, right? He's got 3 more years.
I think so, yeah.
And it's like 10, 11. It's in double-digit million figures. Do you think that there's Drew Rosenhaus is his agent, and I'm not throwing shade at Drew, who I don't particularly care for, but I respect.
Right.
And he's not a guy who's players aren't known for their willingness under him to redo their deals to help teams. Do you think that the Bills are going to absorb that contract as it is?
I don't know if they. I mean, I always defer to my buddy Shane Richardson on Twitter when it comes to cap stuff. But I know they've got plenty of room. I know that, Matt Castle at $4.75 million is going to be the most expensive quarterback they have on the roster for the next 5 years, because even if they draft somebody, I mean, with the rookie deals now, I don't even know what they are. So they're not going to be paying a quarterback the big money deal. They've got, Mario Williams' contract is kind of a bitch. But I mean, I feel like they have the room to absorb that. They're not paying any wide receivers big money. So it seems to me that they can kind of absorb that 3-year hit, because they're really not going to have to pay any of the other high dollar positions before his contract runs out. At least that I can think of.
Is it a little sad, though, that we're not going to be able to get like Fred Jackson in the 8th round of fantasy drafts like we have for like 4 years in a row?
I love Fred Jackson. That dude is always on my team, man. I made the mistake of taking Spiller in a couple, especially after that one really good year with Shangaley, and I wanted him to do good. My fandom screwed me every time I took him, and I'm happy I don't have to worry about C.J. Spiller anymore. But Fred Jackson, you know what? I'll still draft him. There'll be some round. I don't know what round he's available in because I've only done one MFL 10 right now. So honestly, I have no idea what anybody's ADP is. But I'm sure I'll end up in a few redraft leagues, and Fred Jackson will be on my team somehow because by just sheer fucked up nature of the Buffalo Bills, like there's a part of my brain that goes, LaShawn McCoy is probably going to get hurt in like week 3, and Fred Jackson's going to end up being like a 1,200-yard running back just to fuck with everybody that thought they knew what was going to happen with the Bills. It's like it's destined to happen. Mark me down for that one.
That's fantasy football in a nutshell there.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think a year later about the Sammy Watkins trade?
I still think it was a shitty trade. And
It's a lot to give up.
Unless Sammy Watkins ends up being a perennial Pro Bowler who is in conversation for a Hall of Fame, then they pay too much. I mean, you just can't give up 2 first-round draft picks for a wide receiver. And the fact that he was in the same draft as Calvin Benjamin and Odell Beckham and
Mike
Evans, and even the kid with the Eagles. I mean,
Jarvis Landry.
Yeah, you're in a draft. Yep, you're in a draft with like you're a wide receiver in a draft that happened to throw out just a shitload of good wide receivers. Except, it cost the team 2 first rounds for you. So I would never have made that deal. I caught a bunch of shit on Twitter for it when I was like, you got to be kidding,
Even Paul Richardson with the Seahawks, they got him in the second. It was a very, very deep wide receiver class.
It was, and you know what? And to spend, and then the other thing was to spend 2 first-round picks on a wide receiver when your quarterback is E.J. Manuel.
Yeah, well.
I mean, the Bills have essentially thrown away like the first 3 years of Sammy Watkins' career, and that trade. With E.J. Manuel, Kyle Orton, and now Matt Castle, E.J. Manuel, and then whoever they draft next year is some rookie quarterback that hopefully will be good, but who the hell knows? So, I mean, they've really thrown away the first 3 years of a guy that they paid 2 first-round picks for. And that just, it didn't make sense to me. And, I did catch a bunch of shit because a lot of Bills fans were excited that it was a bold move.
It is a bold move.
It was, but bold move doesn't make it good. Just
I
make
understand.
it bold.
It seems like in the draft, trade-ups work way less often than trading back, but
yeah,
it always gets that short term. Like the Falcons trade for Julio Jones, everybody was excited, and then they had no depth, and when they finished one play away from the Super Bowl, then all of a sudden their team imploded really quickly.
Yeah.
And had no depth at all. I mean, the Jets did that with the year they traded up for Sanchez, and they traded up for Sean Green. They had like no other draft picks, and they fell apart really quickly after that first couple of years. And that's your man, the Sexy Rexy. Excited? You get the Rexy tattoo?
God. I have to get behind it, I guess. I mean, I'm a fan. He is what he is. I was more upset about the adding Greg Roman. Greg Roman's just, I don't know. I mean, he had Colin Kaepernick, who I'm not a fan of, all that much, but he's got ability, and if you play to it, you probably could make something out of it. But I mean, I don't know how Greg Roman didn't get more out of the offense that he just had, and he's coming over here, and I just feel like it's going to be going from one predictable kind of offense right into another predictable offense. And I feel like there's going to be a lot of times where defenses know exactly what Buffalo is doing because they're not going to be very exciting with how they game plan or how they play call. I mean, I hope I'm wrong, but Greg Roman was not an exciting addition at all for me.
Yeah, it's 2 things that are a little worrying is that the 49ers had this great offensive line, and then last year it didn't really come together, and the Eagles seem to be pretty good at run blocking, and the Bills didn't quite have that going on.
Mm.
So what exactly can you Sharona, you got something. Go ahead.
I just wanted to ask him real quick. He wasn't there very long, but what were your thoughts on the job that Jim Schwartz did there?
Honestly, I was hoping they were just going to hire Jim Schwartz and go after somebody that could. Yeah, I figured, you know what? It's continuity with defense. That was the best part of the team.
Well, it was.
Yeah, let them hire him, or at least hire a coach that was going to
work with him.
Right. If you're not going to hire him, then hire an offensive-minded coach that's going to keep him there. When they hired Rex, it was kind of like, well, shit, now the defense, Rex is going to want to do what he does on defense, and it's not the same thing that Schwartz did, and I didn't, messing with the defense, it was like a top 5 defense. I don't know what we're, doing, and so now you got to deal with Rex implementing his thing because there's an ego involved, and he's going to want his defense to be there, and he added a boring offensive coordinator.
It's kind of like the Bills are out here doing stuff, and it's exciting, but you have to wonder if there's a plan. Where's the plan? Now, I do think that Rex Ryan has a plan. I think we're seeing what Rex Ryan did, but I'm talking about the Bills in general going back, the last few years. It's like they're just treading water.
Man, they're lucky to be treading water. I mean, they've spent most of the time, as a sub 500 team, so I mean, they're barely keeping a nostril above the waterline right now. And, yeah, I agree with you. I don't always get it. New ownership, I'm not as familiar with the Pagulas as a lot of the Bills fans are because I don't live in the area and anything like that. And I'm not a hockey fan, so I really don't know what he's done with any of the hockey stuff. But I'm hoping that they're willing to spend the money and to have patience enough. Because if they've hired Rex and they want Rex to be the dude and that's their first hire, they need to have enough patience to allow him to, to make it into a winner. And I think Rex, if he can do that as long as the defense holds together. I really wish they would have hired somebody besides Roman. That was more disturbing than the Rex Ryan hire. Give the offense some sort of chance, and I feel like they're just going to be a very boring offense. But
what about letting Jerry Hughes? It looks like Jerry Hughes is going to walk. What do you think about that?
Not very excited about that, but he's probably going to get overpaid. So somebody's going to pay him more than he ends up being worth, and it probably was, as much as I like him, he was a part of not a product of the system, but Jim Schwartz put him in position to succeed. And if he's not in that right position again with, Kyle Williams and Marcel Darius in the middle taking up, getting attention with Mario Williams on the other side getting attention. I mean, you got to take into consideration the fact that this guy was as good as he was. The rest of that defense was badass. So where
he had
he's
good
on
players around him.
Exactly, and he's going to end up somewhere where he's the center of attention, and then we'll see really how good he is, and I feel like Rex is good enough that they're going to absorb that, and I'm willing to bet that it's not really going to cost them that much. I think he's a smart enough coach, especially on defense, that it may suck to lose Jerry Hughes because he really played far better than anybody expected, but I don't know. I wouldn't overpay him. I would do the same thing they're doing and let him walk.
Are they going back to a 3-4 again?
I'm sure Rex will definitely want to do that, and they'll probably do a little bit of a, because he said we're going to play to the strength of our players and shit like that. We'll see. But every coach always wants to put their ego on it a little bit. But I think with what they have, they're flexible enough that they could probably make any defense work. I mean, they're pretty damn stacked. It's impressive, and I'm only sad that Kyle Williams is 35, so we've got like one more year of that dude, and hopefully Marcel Darius doesn't smoke any more fake weed.
I must be a lot of fake weed out there. I guess with all the chicken wings up there, you gotta do something there to get the appetite going.
I would respect him more if he just smoked regular weed. I don't even know what synthetic weed. I don't even know. That just makes no sense.
Yeah, the only thing I didn't like about it
seems to be a thing. Who was it? A former, which running back, or well, maybe he was a fullback, just got arrested for selling it?
Oh, shit.
I don't know.
Anyway.
It's odd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing I got annoyed by the Bills is they would change from the 3-4 to the 4-3. So Mario Williams, I had in a dynasty league, would be a defensive end, and he'd be worth a ton, and then he'd be outside linebacker and be worth nothing because that's just how it works.
I think they'll keep it. Not modified or whatever, but they're gonna do multiple fronts. So that's where MFL and Yahoo and ESPN and all these, they're going to have to like kind of catch up to the times on that, because a lot of defenses are just running 3,
You
4,
can't
4.
trust you can't trust their rankings. You just have to go out there and peruse the list and find the guys that you want, because their rankings suck.
They do, and there's too many defenses now that are just splitting everything up that it's hard to, there's some that are 4-3-3-4, but there's a lot of defenses out there that are playing in multiple fronts, and they've got to figure out a way to catch that up, call it a flex, whatever you want in fantasy football. But yeah, I still expect Mario Williams to be good at his position, fantasy, whatever.
Yeah, one thing I think is baseball over football is that you can get multiple positions from a guy, and in football that's very rare.
Yeah.
Wasn't it Marcus Colston his rookie year, right? He
Yes.
was listed as a tight end, and like people who had him just were crushing it. And
Yeah,
Joe
that was
Webb,
awesome.
I think, was a quarterback / wide receiver, so guys could have him in like a flex. It's odd. It's a strange thing. So how has the last like 15, 17 years been as a fan of the Bills? I mean, especially living in Dallas.
Well, I mean, I've only been here for since 2010, so most of the time I grew up in South Florida, surrounded by Dolphins fans, and it was actually awesome because even though the Bills never won the Super Bowl, they always got to beat the shit out of the Dolphins in Buffalo in the playoffs, and that was just fun, especially with all of my friends being Dolphins fans. So that was a great time. And then there was the dark years that have gone on since then. And it's kind of funny because I don't know. I mean, it would be great to be a fan of a winner. Like, it would be fantastic. I'm stuck with the Bills. I'm not going to change teams, although I do threaten it often. But it does make for entertaining Twitter on Sundays, apparently, because people will send me messages about, holy shit, how did you manage to string together that many bad words in a row and not get thrown off the internet?
Yeah, getting you on a roll is a good thing. So this is a good time to bring up your favorite Titan of all time.
It was totally a lateral.
Number 89 in your hearts.
Yeah. It was a dark day. God, that was horrible. That sucked so much ass. But it was kind of, there's that other party that goes, I kind of figured something like that would happen. There's no way in hell they were going to win that game. So I'm not crazy with, I mean, I love the Bills, but I take it's all in perspective, and I can appreciate the humor in just how bad a crushing defeat is. There's a part of me that's just like, well, that's just funny. Because
did you agree with the decision to go with Brad Johnson?
Brad Johnson, wait,
Rob Johnson.
Rob Johnson, God damn it.
That name still.
Rob Johnson, who wore a sleeve as a headband, was a prick. Actually, he was probably a nice guy. What do I know? But Wade Phillips had his head squarely up his ass, thinking that Rob Johnson was better than Doug Flutie. You got to be fucking kidding me. And Wade Phillips, after that, you know that he should never have been a head coach. Hell of a defensive coordinator, but you can't leave that man to make decisions. Rob Johnson Wade Phillips reminds me of the fat crying kid from A League of Their Own.
Mm-hmm.
That's Wade Phillips. That's every time I see him, that's what I think of, and I can't trust that man to lead my team. And I hated that decision. God, just Rob Johnson was garbage. Stupid fucking sleeve.
Yeah, that was the year that they basically let him start like 17, the last week of the year, and he looked good, and then they decided to dump Flutie, who was their guy the whole year, right? And he didn't get a shot in the NFL until he was in his 30s, yeah.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, that Jeff Fisher-Wade Phillip matchup was like the conservative coaches Hall of Fame game.
Yeah.
I mean, if you watch that game again, it is one of the most boring football games ever. It's 3-yard runs and 2-yard passes to tight ends.
Dude, that was like trying to decide between eating a warm tuna fish sandwich and like a cup of cold fucking clam chowder. It was just horrible. God.
Yeah. PBR left in the sun.
It's just terrible. Oh, PBR in the
It's to
sun.
perfection.
No.
I mean, Jeff Fisher loved to settle for the field goal. Because he
Yeah.
kicked the field goal to take the lead, then the Bills came and kicked another field goal.
I'm pretty sure all of his kids have the middle name 3 Points.
I mean, the best part of the game is I was at a wedding, my cousin's wedding. So my parents gave the season tickets to friends of theirs who are Bills fans, and they were in the end zone that where the touchdown was scored. So I think
Would you guys like to hear the funniest text message I ever got about the Titans?
Sure.
Of course.
Back when Jeff Fisher was still around. It was a friend of mine who's a huge Titans fan who doesn't live around here, sent me a text message that was like one sentence that said, Jeff Fisher pulls out before he finishes.
Accurate. It's funny because it's true.
The man, the mustache.
I swear. I can't even see Jeff Fisher without thinking about that and getting that mental image in my brain.
Yeah, we got a classic. Like last year was a classic Fisher game when they beat the Broncos and kicked like 8 field goals. That was just like so perfectly Jeff Fisher. And they're just going to keep him in St. Louis, even though I don't think he's had a winning record in like 12 years.
You got to appreciate his ability to survive through. I mean, he's like the most perfect middle manager ever. He's like if what is it? The fucking Office, Steve Carell, whatever. If that guy was a football coach, that would be Jeff Fisher. Just kind of like, I'm just gonna get along here and barely make budget. I have no idea how, and fuck it, we're gonna kick a field goal.
Kick a field goal, yeah.
Yeah, there he is, like a combination of fucking Steve Carell and a football coach.
Al Del Greco was his favorite guy.
Yeah, Al Del Greco. Hell of a career Del Greco had. I mean, I wonder why.
It's a bad finish, but yeah. I think he's still the all-time leading scorer in franchise history, of course.
Which you should be proud of.
Yeah, it always ends up being a kicker.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure the Bills is too. I
heard you did an MFL 10. What was that experience like? Because we talked to Matt Riddle, the MFL 10 master, but for someone who just decided to do one, what's it like, especially when there's no rookies assigned to teams? Like, how crazy is that?
I'm pretty sure I was drunk, and I figured I would throw $10 away. So it's great. Like, I like the MFL 10. I played in 10 of them last year or something like that. The problem I have with them is there's an 8-hour clock, and there's no shut off for the clock. So if some asshole makes their pick at midnight and you're next, I got to wake up and get ready for work. And then all of a sudden I'm at work and I look at my phone. I'm like, oh great, I just picked the Seahawks defense in the 8th round. Like, well, I might as well just throw this fucking thing away. And then if you miss 2 in a row somehow, which I did apparently, they just put you on auto draft, which I didn't realize till all of a sudden I was in the 17th round. So as soon as you're up, it just picks whoever's next. So I've got 9 wide receivers and 4 running backs, and one of those running backs is Dan Herron, I think. And the other 3 I don't even know because I waited to get a running back because I was going with 0 running back theory because I spend too much time on Twitter. So, look, the MFL 10s are fun, but to be perfectly honest with you, I wouldn't – you're just kind of pissing your money away. And, I wish people luck with that. I did play one last year where you get to actually control your team. I signed up for that on accident. That was actually kind of fun. I came in 2nd place, which sucked because I didn't get any money. But what I've discovered is I suck at drafting anyway, so I'm way better working the waiver wire and trying to come up with a trade, because drafting is, people put a lot of time and effort into it, but man, it is such a fluke sometimes, and your draft position can completely change what your plan was. So it's just, I don't know. I feel like there's more skill in actually fixing your roster after you fucked it up during the draft than there is in actually drafting, if that makes any sense. I think I went off on a rant there. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, the waivers, I'm a big fan. In my local league, I'm always
I work the waivers too.
I think I played all
Working.
I apologize because I think my girlfriend just got home, so these dogs are going to be assholes.
That's all right. My dog's doing backflips over here trying to get my attention.
That's so true. So you think for Titans fans, any hope for Andy Levitri to turn things around?
If he can stay healthy, he's good. So I mean, I think I forget what that contract was. They paid him a lot of money.
A shit ton of money.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. There was a lot of Bills fans that were just kind of like, well, all right then. Sucks to lose him because he's good when he's healthy, but that was a lot of dough. I mean, he definitely capitalized on his situation. Hard to blame him. From everything that I know about him, which is probably very little, but I'm going to try and sound like I know more, he seems like the type of guy that if he can play well and if he is healthy, he's going to give you all his effort. So
he definitely does.
Yeah, you're not going to get he's not going to half-ass it. So if he's not good, it's probably because he's hurt or whatever. But you're going to get effort from the guy, and I mean, at a reasonable price, I would love for them to have re-signed him because more consistency with the line and all that, and it would have been, the Bills have line troubles, as you know, terrible. So it would have been nice to keep him. Hopefully he plays well. I mean, I'm rooting for him to play well. I don't root for anybody to suck except for – I'm not a big fan of Colin Kaepernick, not going to lie to you. But other than that, I'm rooting for everybody to succeed.
Did you think the Bills missed George Wilson, a leader in the locker room, and a guy that really was kind of a little bit underrated at safety?
I was a huge and am still a huge George Wilson fan. I would like for them to have kept him. I can't remember what he got paid to go to. Would you guys pay?
He got a nice little salary here. I don't remember the numbers.
I don't know how much they miss him because I think that I mean, I guess they could have missed him a little bit. Their DBs have been probably the weakest part of their defense. Well, linebackers up until last year weren't that great either. So. But as a locker room guy, absolutely. I mean, he was and still is, hardworking, good teammate, all that stuff. You want smart guy.
He's great.
Just wants to win, all that good stuff. So yeah, I mean, they probably did miss him a little bit, and I'm sure there was guys in that locker room that definitely did.
They certainly didn't miss Jarius Byrd, eh?
No, and you know what? I was okay with that, even without the whole whatever injury thing. He wanted a shitload of money, and they already had a bunch of money in that D-line, and to pay Jarius Byrd that money, that would have been too much, and I have no problem with them letting him go. I'm not gonna lie to you. I've been so busy at my actual life job that sucks. That I don't know what the hell's going on with their free agents and things like that. I would like to see them re-sign Denoris. I always screw this guy's name up. Searcy. What's his first name? Denoris? Anybody? Noonan?
I'm not sure who you're talking about.
Sure. Oh, Jesus. Well, it's their free safety. Searcy. Searcy. Yeah. Anyway, young kid. I'm hoping that they keep him back. I like Aaron Williams. I think that moving him to safety was a smart move. Hopefully Stephen Gilmore doesn't regress or whatever. I mean, he started to come on.
Denoris.
Yeah. Yes, thank you. I'm like, I know this guy's name, and I always screw it up. One of those things. Kind of like I can never spell definitely. I don't know why.
Oh, me either.
Even
and
with
rhythm always gets me.
It's all about autocorrect.
Oh, dude, don't get me started on autocorrect. I fucking hate that. They're now turning my regular words into different words.
That is true. That does happen a lot. I can't imagine what it would do to your tweets.
Oh, it kills them, dude.
It makes them PG. I just saw the Bills depth chart, and I saw they have Bakari Rambo. So there you go.
Yeah.
I just remember him getting juked by Chris Johnson in the preseason a couple years ago.
But Bakari Rambo, didn't he at the end of the season have a game where he had a couple interceptions? What the hell was that game? Like, he actually played really well. and I was
Yeah, it
shocked.
looks like Searcy and Duke Williams are both hurt, so I think he must have played some at the end of the year.
Yeah. Yeah, he did. I think he had a couple interceptions, like a fluke thing. All of a sudden, he was a ball hawk. Um, yeah, whatever. I like the
Okay.
name. Great name. I mean, that name alone is worth probably 700 grand a year.
I'd say. Okay, so we need one thing for Sharona. So how are you feeling? Bernard Pollard gets cut. By the way, Bernard Pollard, Matt Cassell owes Bernard Pollard like 50 million bucks because without
Yeah,
him
right. No,
injuring Tom Brady's knee,
no doubt.
he would never have started and never would have gotten. He would have been Brian Hoyer if he was lucky. So what's the feeling over there in Sharona land?
Well, it's
Snowden.
interesting. You know, he wanted to get cut. He asked the Titans to cut him, and the Titans granted his request and excuse me, and released him. And then he, you know, of course, he's been very vocal during here. I'm a big Bernard Pollard fan. I'm certainly not knocking him, but it's interesting. You know, he said that the Titans didn't know how to win. Definitely didn't seem to be about that 2-14 life. But you know, on the split side, and it's kind of interesting. You know, there are two ways that this story could have gone. I'm completely shocked that it hasn't gone the he quit on the team.
Well, didn't he tear his Achilles? That's a pretty rough injury to recover from.
Yeah, he did. He's healthy enough to release.
I'm just saying, I like Bernard Pollard as a leader, but if he's like your third best player in defense, then you're probably not doing so well. And I think he might have been the second or third best guy on their defense. So I don't know. It was one of those they needed veteran leadership, and that was good, but I don't. It's hard to say.
Well, I will miss
Didn't
him and
replace
wish him
that.
nothing but the best.
Yeah, I mean he's been a nice career. He's been on like 4 teams, it seems.
Where do you think he'll end up? Where do you guys think he'll end up?
I don't
Well,
know.
maybe New Orleans. They could use some safety help.
Hmm.
Kenny Vaccaro really kind of
Yeah.
sucked last year. Maybe go back to the Ravens. I mean, the Ravens could definitely use some safety help.
Yeah, they drafted a guy, was it Elam, and he hasn't really
Matt Elam,
done that well. But didn't he go to Florida or LSU? I forget.
LSU.
Elam went to Florida. Wait, are we
No,
wrong?
but
Who's
you were
right?
Florida, right?
Oh, dude, my girlfriend went to UF, and I fucking hate the Gators. Honestly, her worst trait. I mean, really, it's terrible. Ugh. Didn't he? I thought he went to UF. Did he not go to UF?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. Okay, I
I
got
must be thinking, getting him mixed up with someone else because there was a.
because Brian is a guy in Dallas. We have to at least briefly. So this whole Des Bryant video, non-video. I mean, is this the weirdest non-story story, or is this just
Yes, he went
because
to
we
UF.
have to make the NFL year-round, and we have to do something to fill the space?
And I don't even understand what's going on with that because didn't the police report come out and say that like there was nothing?
Yeah.
I mean,
It's like a rumor.
You would think that if the police had a video, they wouldn't have just been like, oh, well, nothing. But then again, the police, how trustworthy are they? Especially in light
Well,
of recent stuff.
I can assure you, police reports are not to be trusted.
Yeah, I mean, so I guess maybe, who knows? Maybe they could have protected him and there was a video out there. I think Dez definitely doesn't help his cause with, you know, the way he chooses to do certain things, and I think he's got, you know, a bunch of people living at his house, and it's a weird situation and all this shit, and you know the stuff he's had with his mom, and you know, so he doesn't help. He's not helping himself out. He's not like, you know, kind of staying out of trouble and putting his good foot forward or whatever. He's just kind of like, you know, I'm Dez, fuck off, give me a bunch of money. And for his football talent, he absolutely deserves it. But I could see where the Cowboys are a little hesitant about, you know, paying him. And so who knows if the video, non-video story was leaked by somebody in the Cowboys organization. I don't put anything past Jared Jones to save money. So it would not surprise me if there was some lackey that was like, hey, whoa, we're in contract negotiations. Let's throw this out there and really, you know, take a shit on his value. essentially.
Yeah, it was completely about that.
Yeah. They ought to pay him. They'd be stupid not to pay him. He's there's him, Calvin Johnson, who else you want to name out there that's just ridiculously good for enough, for a long enough period of time that you got to give him that respect.
Yeah, I got him in the first round of our keeper draft, and it's a weird, like a strange, it was like a Stockholm syndrome thing going on because they kind of locked him down and found security guards. Obviously, that path didn't work when they had Pac-Man for a year, but with Dez, it's worked. I think I tweeted that like we're living in the alternate universe where Dez Bryant has an NFL career, and in most of them he doesn't. He's like Josh Gordon. Everybody's like, "What a talent! Oh, he wasted it."
Yeah.
And somehow in this one he's doing all right. But I guess they're meant to be together, and they're going to stay, and they're going to have him and Romo for another 5 years of non-Super Bowls, and I'm sure he'll be enjoying every minute of it.
You know what? I'll tell you what, man. Jerry finally got his head out of his ass, addressed the O-line. And all of a sudden, DeMarco Murray's a running back. All of a sudden, Tony Romo looks like a top 5 quarterback. If they can sustain that and play defense, and the Cowboys, there's nothing to stop the Cowboys from winning the NFC. And that's a bold whatever, I guess, probably. But with that O-line playing the way they did, with DeMarco doing what he did, and hopefully they re-sign him. I think they should. And whatever he said that he's willing to take a little bit of a hometown discount, I hope they take advantage of that. And if they can make that defense work, if they can make that defense be a top 15, they got to be just top half, whatever, not horrible. They could definitely go far. And Tony Romo has gotten a boatload of shit, but it has not all been his fault. I mean. He's basically taken a bunch of shit because he fumbled the friggin' kick. And the rest, he's made some inopportune throws, but it's not like, like he caught shit for losing that game to the Broncos when he threw for like some asinine stats, and it was literally one bad throw. And, you look at those numbers any other time he wins that game, he just happened to be playing Peyton Manning.
Yeah, I got Tony Romo he was the 13th quarterback taken in our local league.
Yeah.
And I thought I was going to just do quarterback by committee, and he started like every game but like 2, and then I got the championship because everybody goes quarterback crazy. So
dude, adding Linehan was huge.
and they had their defense sucked before the year started. Then they had like 27 injuries.
Yeah.
And somehow it eked out. And really, if Dez Bryant gets credit for that catch, they beat the Packers, and they beat Seattle in Seattle earlier in the year, so who knows?
And that was a catch, and
it's a hard one.
I fucking hate how they've turned the game into a rule book bullshit. I mean, yeah. The fact that nobody knows
if they're calling that one back. Well, all right, dogs, what do you think? You got a cat? Fresh.
I have no idea where mine went.
He'd be delicious.
I'm just happy mine are leaving me alone right now.
I know. What is it like down there in Dallas? Is the beer scene like amazing? The Techno is like kind of Texas thing too?
It really is, man. They, in just the 4 years or so that I've lived here, there's 1, 2, 3. There's probably 10 breweries within 5 miles of my house. It's insane. There's so much good beer here. Like it would take me a while to get through it all, but I'm doing the best I can.
You're only one man, right?
Exactly. You got to work through it. But yeah, no, there's some really good beer in Texas, man. They're doing some good stuff, man. I think it's all in the water. And Dallas has got some good water, I guess. So yeah, that's good shit. There's everybody talks about Pliny the Elder, and everybody talks about Vermont's Heady Topper. Haven't had the Heady Topper yet. Had a chance to have Pliny the Elder. And there's a brewery 3 miles from my house that puts out an IPA that is every bit as good as Pliny the Elder.
Huh?
Strong talk, but that's good. Yeah, that's what I like.
But yeah. And there's some good bourbon here, apparently.
Hey, I'm team bourbon.
If I'm ever going to drink the hard stuff, I want it to be with you and Dexter's library.
Yeah.
Three, you guys show me the ropes. I may not live, but it would be a great way to go out, you know?
Dude, Dexter's got knowledge that I wish I had. That dude's awesome. Yeah.
Well, he's like a bartender. He knows how to make.
Yeah, he's. I think you can officially call him a mixologist or whatever without it being, asshole, hipster, ironic-ish. Like, I think he really knows what the hell he's talking about, which is pretty cool. And he's well-read.
Yeah.
He's a very well-read bartender.
There's depth to the guy.
Those are the best. Cool bartenders. They rule.
Yeah, I got to meet him.
What? I didn't hear anything.
He came down when the Titans played the Bears, and he was pretty much drunk out of his skull when we met. But that was a good time because he drove down from Chicago, and the Bears beat the absolute crap out of the Titans. That's what everybody did.
Hey, that was
in smart 7 years. They do it again. We'll do it one more time.
I would definitely like to have some drinks with him.
So, Brian, is there anything else you want to talk about with the NFL or beer or whiskey or, beard game, anything? Whatever you got.
Man, my beard game is just due to laziness. I just
How
hate
long have you
shaving.
been growing it?
I don't think I've shaved since I was 18. So I'm 39 right now. So, yeah, I would say, I guess I've had this for 15 years or so, something like that. This is probably one of the longest. It's probably been this long for about 5 years.
Okay.
Somewhere in that neighborhood. But really, it all started with laziness, as most things do.
Does it soak up the booze or nah?
Dude, I never spill anything on my shirt. That's all I know. It's always, I catch everything in there.
Hell, I need one of those.
I can wear white no matter what. If it's past Labor Day or Memorial Day or whatever that is, no problem, dude. I'm going to Italian dinners. Everything's in the beard. Nothing's on my clothes.
Okay, so Brian, I know you're not, posting too often, but let everybody know where they can find your good stuff, including your take on the Bills trades, and of course your great Twitter account.
My Twitter account is @TheStreetFA, stands for Street Free Agent. Some asshole has the Street Free Agent, and he will not give it up, and he hasn't tweeted in like 4 years, so that guy sucks. So @TheStreetFA, and then occasionally I post stuff on footballsavages.com. Mostly on Twitter, though.
I feel like that's a good one for you. So Sharona,
they let me do whatever I want.
What's happening, Sharona? What's going on? How are you just putting out amazing amounts of content because you've been snowed in for like the last month?
Well, I have been putting out a lot of content. Zach totally missed it. I'm very disappointed in you, buddy. But I've been teasing you guys with this project that I've been working on. Excuse me. I finally published it today. If you're watching out there, you know that, and you know me, you know that I'm a huge gaming fan. And I'm a big game of the Dragon Age series. And so I played it. I ended up hate playing it because initially I didn't like it. So anyway, I wrote 3,000 words on it. So read that and read all my NFL updates at NFL Female and at Pro Player Insiders, and catch me on the radio in the morning on Game Over with Vashti and Sharona. We'll be talking about the Memphis Grizzlies, the Nashville Predators, and some college hoops. Maybe some boxing.
Sports besides football. So confusing, but that's okay.
And follow me on Twitter at Sports by Sharona.
That's right. Follow her. Follow her before anybody else. Zach_Law on Twitter, Zach Law Online, as I talk about this crazy journey of joblessness and dynasty, free agent obsession. And, of course, always with the beer. Big fan of the Smutty Nose lately. The winter ale, quite good. Old Brown Dog, another winner. All that stuff. It's all good. Well, thanks again, Brian, for coming on. Thanks again, Chewy, for jumping on my computer screen right when I'm trying to say goodbye. It's been fun. Thank you, everybody. We'll just say good night, good luck, and enjoy the free agency craziness because it's about to hit.
Go Preds!
Yeah, was it Fang Fingers?
Fang Fingers!
That's terrible. I can't endorse that.